Friend of the show, Felipe Reis Aceti joins us for a Packers midseason check-in. Let's jump into our conversation assessing our season so far.
Yeah, I've been wanting this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Okay. Hey. Yeah, ain't no errors, baby. It's a new era. I wake up early, feeling rich like I'm cash.
Welcome in another episode. Sounds good. Appreciate everybody coming back and taking listen to us. We do have a special guest, Felipe Reis Aceti, joining us, coming back. He did not get enough pain last time, so he decided to join us again for some more pain and some more Packers talk. So this is Sounds Good, of course. Next to me is my best friend and co-host, Jordan Olson. We do have new content coming out every Wednesday and every Saturday. Every Wednesday is the recap from the game previous, and Saturday, the preview for the upcoming game. So, Felipe, thanks for coming in and coming back and joining us. So, there's a lot of different things that we can talk about ever since we last talked to you in the Brazil game, but I have a very general and kind of nuanced question for you here. What is your evaluation so far of where the Packers are halfway throughout the season?
Well, first, I appreciate you guys having me back. It's the third time now. And I mean, honestly, I like our record. I'm still mad about the Brazil loss. I was in the game. A lot of things happened on that stadium on that day. But I think the first takeaway that I have is that we were 3-6 last year, and people were saying that the season was over. This year, we are 3, and there's still people saying that the season is over. I can't wrap my mind on that, but I feel pretty comfortable. We have the Bears next week. Yeah, the Bears next week in Chicago, and I really like. And I know our schedule is not the easiest, but I really like our chances in general.
Yeah, I think there's at least 5 or 6 wins out there for us if we can take care of business. And I think that's a great segue question, but like they're in the bye week right now. So of the major like shoot yourself in the foot, so to say, issues that we've had, penalties, drops, Jordan Love's decision making at time, which one of those things do you feel like is most correctable moving forward? And can this Packers team get rid of those mistakes and play a little cleaner football? What do you think?
Okay, so I'll start with special teams. I don't believe in anything that's going on there. Rich Bisaccia is the highest paid special teams coach in the league, and his job is atrocious to this point. I'm getting really sick of the drops, but I feel like Love's accuracy has been kind of off. I know he's been injured, but still, I have a saying. It's a pretty common saying, by the way. If the ball hit your hands, you need to catch. And that's most of the scenarios. Yep. Weeks had a drop against the Lions in the end zone. That would have been easy 6. J.D. Reed, I think, leads the league in drops this time with Amari Cooper. And also a lot of, I think, I don't know how to, I'm trying to figure out how to say this in English. But there was a particular play in the Lions game. The law went deep to Watson, but Watson, for some reason, stops running on the route. And if he keeps going, I think it's easy 6. But, I mean, going back to the point, I think the drops, I think, are the most fixable. Because I don't believe they will fix the special teams in time. And I'm really in fear that's going to cost us again this year. I think they're like 28th in DVOA or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But now they have like 2 weeks to get everything together. And we're going to enter a stretch with 3 games in 11 days. Both Sundays and then a Thursday against Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Still, I feel pretty comfortable that we are going to make a playoff run. But yeah, those self-inflicted wounds are really, really annoying. And honestly, the Lions offense scored 17 points in the game in week 9, and they basically did nothing to win the game. They play simple football, ran the ball effectively, because the Packers just could not stop getting their own way. In my opinion, they lost the game in that And as soon as I say it, Jared Goff throws an interception on Sunday Night Football.
Did he?
In the Lions game, I think the Packers failed to take advantage of the momentum when Brian Branch got tossed because he delivers that hit on Bo Melton, 15 yards, then he gets ejected, then another 15 yards, and then the Packers did not got to the end zone. So I think, and Love's pick six, of course, but I think these two scenarios were pretty much telling to me that, okay, I don't think we're going to win this game today. But in general, I feel pretty good.
Yeah,
it felt. Go ahead, Rob.
Well, yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, they're up there as far as like drop balls go. So you got to hope, because whatever they're doing so far this season, it hasn't really helped out. But yeah, if they even cut that like 50%, got 50% better at that, and you're spot on. Like if it's near your hands, and I'm sure a wide receiver would say this, you have to catch that football. That, and they have to get better at those pre-snap penalties, man. Like it was like almost every drive it happened with the Lions, and it's been happening multiple times this year. I think they're up there as far as this leading the league. I don't know if they are leading the league, but they're in that top percentage there. So they really, in my opinion, need to get better at those two things, and those are definitely fixable and correctable. Oh, what do you think a bold prediction is for you for the second half of the season? Do you have any bold predictions? 0 drops, no pre-snap penalties or anything crazy like that?
I'm going really bold with this one, but I think Night Train Lane has the single season interception record with 14. And that's way back.
Okay.
I'm gonna say X.
I know where you're going with this.
I'm gonna say X tie it.
Man, he'd be going gangbusters to get there. I love it. That's super bold, but I mean, the defense and the impact that he's made would be undeniable. I'm there for it. Let's see it happen.
And I mean by now talking about a bold prediction for the Packers in general. I'm gonna go with another player because I haven't thought of a bold prediction for the team. But I'm gonna say how many games remaining? 8, right?
8 games.
8 games.
8 games. Yep.
Rashawn Gary goes for 12.5 sacks on those 8 games.
Woo!
Dude, you brought the heat here because those are 2 bold predictions. I would be just happy if he had a 12.5 sack season, right? But 12.5 in 8 games, that'd be a heater. I'll just take 1 per game from him and be very happy moving forward. So
we're going with Felipe's bold prediction though on that one. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Rob, you got a bold prediction for the second half of the season? Player, team?
Man, putting me on the spot. Bold prediction. Vontae Wicks catches 90% of those ones that it's like, oh, slightly behind him or, whatever. The ones that are near his hands that he should catch. He catches 90% of those throughout the rest of the second half of the season.
Yeah, I like where your head's at there. I actually think I'm a little bit more on. I mean, I don't want to ice Wicks out, but I'm kind of at the point where I think Wicks needs to start earning his opportunities a little bit more. We just throw it to him time after time. I mean, he's open, but I don't know. Maybe that's the approach. Maybe we need to say, hey, you're going to start getting your 2 or 3 targets a game. And if you start to become more sure-handed, if it's not your fault, if Love throws way behind him or whatever, we're not going to count that against him. But the blatant ones, like you said, Felipe, if it's in your hands, you got to catch it. My bold prediction is that I don't know that it's overly bold, but I think that they finally get wise and they starting Edgerrin Cooper in this second half of the season, and Edgerrin Cooper makes a real play at defensive rookie of the year, because I think he's got the ability to have that kind of impact. And him and Evan Williams has given him a run for his money right there. But I don't know, maybe it's just like my hopes and dreams that we get more Edgerrin Cooper, but I think that they're going to insert him more. And I think we're going to see the impact player that he is.
This is the bold statement section of the year for any Packers content at any platform, man. If all this comes true, you come back to Sounds Good because we're going to the Super Bowl.
We talked a lot about the pass rush here. We just had the trade deadline. The Packers were sellers at the deadline, getting rid of Preston Smith. What did you make of that trade, and where does that put this unit moving forward? I mean, obviously, you're very hopeful for Rashawn Gary, but what do you think of the deadline, Felipe?
I mean, cap-wise, I think it makes sense because the Packers open up. I don't have the numbers in front of me right now, but they open a relative they open some cap space for 2024, more in 2025, 2026 as well. So when you think about it, we have some guys on the 2022 draft class that are going to get extended. Zach Tom is going to be extended. Romeo Dobbs and Christian Watson are candidates. And thinking about 2023 as well, Jaden Reed is a candidate. Tucker Kraft is another. So cap-wise, it makes sense. And talking about production, Smith said himself that he requested the trade, right? So he wasn't feeling comfortable in Hafley's system. He had like 10 pressures on the year. He had a game-winning sack today against the Commanders. But I mean, Lucas Van Ness has to step up. Van Ness has, I think, 6 pressures this year. Will McDonald, who got drafted like 2 spots after him, has 8 sacks. So they're going to need more from him. And Brian Gutekunst spoke on the press conference on, I think, Tuesday or Wednesday, I don't remember. It was the day of the deadline. I think he believes that Brenton Cox and Aaron Mosby will be able to fill the void that Preston Smith will leave behind. That's kind of concerning to me, especially his comments about hoping for a breakout game because, I mean, we're in November. We're in 2 months into the season, so if that breakout hasn't happened yet, when it's going to happen?
Yeah.
You can't be hoping for a breakout game in November. That was the most that left me. Man, I can't even describe it. That was really worrying for
it's
for me to hear him say.
It's the hopeful dream, right? And I think there's obviously talent there. Rob and I were talking in another conversation about speed rusher, and you look at the way that this defense is molded with some other teams, the Niners, the Jets, the Texans, and Aaron Mosby could be that speed rusher type. Will McDonald is the prime example of that. I'm not saying he's going to have that kind of impact, but he's a different type of body in there. I'd like to see more of that injected into this defense.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna need to step up because we now have Rashawn Gary, Lucas Van Ness, JJ Nagbar, Aaron Mosby, and Brenton Cox. I don't think Brenton Cox played a single snap. Mosby that had that half sack against the Lions, he made Penal Sue look like a child on that play.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping Jeff Hafley is a good DC. Guys are still delivering results, not in the pass rush, but the defense in general is delivering results. I like that first one. I feel comfortable on hoping that these guys up front will figure it out. I do believe that we're gonna have a bigger role now because it has been mostly playing teams. It's just what I said. We can't expect to keep waiting on that breakout game because we're 2 months in. Like if he said that in the beginning of the season, and the first 3 games were like this, it's understandable. It's a transition that they had to make, new scheme, new system, but it's been 9 games now. To me, no.
Overall, I'm pretty happy with the defense. They're 13th, I think, right now, or they were coming into this week of games on their bye week. That's a number on total defense that we haven't touched in many years, right? So I think we can look and be like, well, we really desire more from the pass rush, which I don't know that we need to get, so much better in that area. But if we can create an extra sack a game from this unit, I think we can win a lot of games with that, upper tier, top half of the league defense. What's your assessment of how Jeff Hafley's done with this defense to this point?
Well, I will start off saying that it feels great to have a defensive coordinator who actually makes adjustments in halftime and just not like stands there and watch his defense gets absolutely destroyed like it was in previous seasons. I think the Packers have allowed 10 or less points in 7 games in the second half this year. They allow more than 10 in the games against the Eagles and the Jaguars. Uh, I like the way he gets creative with simulated pressures because I think the main Packers problem is how I don't think it's like how they were who was trying to pressure, but how they were bringing the pressure. So in that game against Houston, I think it was the highest percentage use of simulated looks, and they got to Stroud like 5, 6 times. Garrett had 6 pressures in the game because he kept moving him around. But I like the way things are going. I'm hoping Jared Alexander gets healthy because when he's not out there, it gets rough, really rough. There are certain things that I want to tweet about, not personal against those guys, but there are certain things about Keisha Nixon, Quay Walker, Isaiah McDuffie that I want to tweet, but I can't because my contract does not allow me.
Yeah.
We need Jair out there. And another thing that's astonishing to me, I actually was researching about this. Eric Wilson and Adrian Cooper have a higher grade on Pro Football Focus than Isaiah McDuffie and Quay Walker, naturally, because they have been much better this season. But Walker and McDuffie they have the most snaps. And I know Walker's is the Green Dots is playing Mike, so it makes harder for the Packers to sub him out. But I think the bye week is the perfect opportunity for Halfley to make that change, have someone else call plays, and then get Wilson and Cooper more on the field. I have an article about this coming tomorrow, I think. But in general, I feel the only thing that is lacking is the pass rush. But covered, the Packers have been good. They're stopping the run, which was a main concern. I think they're ranked number 9 in APA per rush,
Is
which
he
is
cutting out Rob for
amazing
you?
considering what they were.
Felipe, we might have to cut this part, but we're losing you a little bit.
Do you guys got me?
You're real spotty right now. You're coming in and out.
Boy, what about what?
So far, so good.
So
You were good up until this last question, but yeah, that last question you kind of got a little in and out.
I'm trying to see my connection is. Oh, my connection looks good to me.
So if you just kind of want to finish up your thoughts on that, Rob can probably clip
I
that
can
out.
edit back in. Yep.
So, how much of my answer did you guys get before you started getting?
Hard to say. So if you just kind of want to give a brief overview of what you shared.
So yeah, so trying to go back. The main thing for me is like getting Cooper and Wilson out there instead of not working, right?
We're losing you again, Felipe. Damn.
Yep. Yep.
You guys got me?
Yep.
I'll try to go as fast as possible. Oh my god. Okay.
It's okay. Sorry, man. Yeah, I know.
You're good. Whatever we get through in this conversation, we get through, right? So yeah, we got you now. So
we need more of Wilson and Cooper and less of Walker and McDuffie. Get someone else to call the plays. Get McKinney, Jair, someone up front. We need better linebacker play. And we need Jair back there because when he's not out there, it's getting rough with Nixon and Stokes on the outside. But I really like it. I think this bye week comes at a perfect time because we have a demanding stretch coming up. But I like what I'm seeing, and I really hope any teams don't consider Heffley for their head coaching opener. There's gonna be a lot of openings in January. I'll tell you that.
yeah, my gut says it's a little premature for him to get a job next year, and I think I'm not even sure, like with all the stress he had at BC, I'm not even sure that he'd want to take a job right away. He seems to be having a good time with it right now, but we'll see. I hope we get at least 2 years out of Halfley.
The Bears can go ahead and take Ben Johnson because we all know that Ben Johnson's on the top of everybody's list right now.
I don't know. That's where I want to see him end up though either because that's still in the division.
I think there's no way
That's
the
fair.
Bears will allow that. The Lions will allow that to happen. I think there's no way.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Then his career won't get ruined. So, just speaking of like a little bit too so far this year, who are some of your like unsung heroes so far? Like, who do you think has performed really well, either on defense, special teams, offense? Where's a couple of things that you think for unsung heroes that has gone well so far for the Packers?
I'm laughing because I literally just wrote about this before we start recording. I have the Felipe's positives coming tomorrow for Tuesday TV, and I think I highlighted 6 guys,
All right, let's hear him.
3 players, 2 coaches, and Brian Gutekunst. Brian Gutekunst, as I now mentioned, Matt LaFleur and Jeff Hafley, Josh Jacobs, Tucker Kraft, and Xavier McKinney. Do you guys want me to go one by one?
I mean, maybe you can touch on whatever one you like. Which, I mean, you mentioned a couple of off-season additions there. Halfley, McKinney, Jacobs. You know, which one of those guys do you think has meant most to this team?
I mean, I'm going with McKinney because of how he's playing and the impact he's having on Evan Williams and Jalen Butler. I mean, the whole revamp on the safety room it's something we will have to study in the future. Obviously, he was named as defensive player of the month for October. 6 interceptions in the year, alongside with Kirby Joseph. Both are leading the league. Evan Williams. I always put Evan Williams up in the list, but I think he was PFF's 7th highest grade safety and the top rookie. Jalen Butler was the 2nd highest graded safety among rookies, right? Just behind Evan Williams. But just by watching Xavier McKinney play, I mean, his IQ, ball skills, closing speed, I think he's arguably the best off-season free agency addition since Charles Woodson, maybe. I will have to think about it. But I think that's a pretty solid argument. And not to take anything from Jacobs. Jacobs has been amazing. Prior to this week, he had like the 3rd most rushing yards. It was, I think, 2nd in yards after contact, only behind Derrick Henry, but Derrick Henry is an anomaly. So I think the Packers are seeing we probably will come back to this in the future. The Packers are seeing the impact that McKinney has made in the safety room. I think the Packers will probably try to do something with linebacker next year. And I hope they do, because I cannot stand Quay Walker and Isaiah McDuffie anymore.
Yeah, you know, and just kind of leading into this conversation, you know, you talked about the green dot, and like, you know, if we need to get Quay Walker off the field, why not just give it to Xavier McKinney? I mean, he seems to be the man back there anyways. Let him have the green dot, and then you can do whatever you want with the linebackers.
Yeah, and I mean, there's not even the argument, because if the Packers had the same DC from, in that case, Joe Barry, from previous years, we at least could say that Walker has been in the scheme longer, he knows the plays, the play call. But it's a new system. It's the same thing for everyone back there. So they all had the same amount of time to study the playbook, study the plays, study the tendencies. So I think removing Quay from the green dot is the way to go.
All right. So we got one last question for you, and we need it in 2 minutes or less. So no pressure. What is the Packers ending? What is their record going to be? What seed do you think that they're going to make it in the playoffs? It feels like 10 wins at this moment right now is the cusp of trying to get in the NFC, but you never know how that's all going to shake out. And then, do you think we're going to make a run?
I mean,
and
we're sitting
at least
at
make it to the
6
Super
and
Bowl
3
or
right
win it?
now. I feel comfortable in picking the Packers to win both games against the Bears, against the Saints, and against the Dolphins. The 49ers are 1-4 against the Packers in their last 5 regular season games. And this game is at Lambeau. It might be a cold game. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that they win. And I feel like the Packers should beat the Seahawks in Seattle, but I had 2014 reasons to be scared of that stadium. So that place scares me. I feel like they should win, but you never know what's gonna happen there. I have them finishing 11-6, like beating both the Bears and both games against the Bears, the Dolphins, the Saints. I don't think they get swept by both the Vikings and the Lions. They might beat the Lions, but get swept by the Vikings or vice versa. So I think they're gonna steal at least one road game. I hope it's both, but I don't think they get swept by both the Lions and
Yeah.
the Vikings. So I think 11-6 is a realistic prediction, and then they will finish probably like the 6th seed or even 5. And then just doing the math in my scenario, that would probably mean either the Eagles versus the Eagles in Philly or the 49ers, which I think they will win the division in Santa Clara. So
Yeah.
I feel it's a realistic scenario.
Another rematch with the 49ers.
Let's see that. But it might be our time.
Better be. All
So
right.
I mean,
So Felipe,
I'm. Go ahead, Rob.
I was just gonna say. So Felipe, thank you so much for coming on. We definitely appreciate it. Where can people find your socials? Where you're writing at?
So
All
I
that
appreciate
sort of
you
stuff.
guys for having me,
for what you do.
and I apologize immensely for my internet connection errors. It's been really annoying for me to deal with that, but I'm mostly working with Cheesehead TVs on coverage. You guys can find me on X/Twitter or how you want to call it on Aceti_Felipe. I'm writing every week, every Monday for Cheesehead TV, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for zone coverage, every Friday for Packers talk. And sometimes I'm even doing Portuguese, but I think most people will not understand what I'm saying. So I'm just gonna leave that out there.
Well, you certainly put out some really great work. So for anybody listening, take Rob and I's word for it.
I
Check out
appreciate you
Felipe's
guys.
stuff. Really, really good. So thanks for being on, Felipe.
Yep. Thank you.
Every time the Dak, I mean, I will jump right into that. Right, the Cowboys look terrible again against the Eagles. Maybe that's just we can keep doing this, and every time we keep doing it, the Cowboys will continue to look terrible. They hosted the Eagles down in Jerry World and got their butts spanked. But as we look around the rest of the league, some interesting results, especially out of the NFC side. You know, the Vikings escape a close one in Jacksonville, and really, boneheaded penalty at the end of that game kind of ended the game for Jacksonville. But that was a tight one. Vikings win 12-7. I still think the Vikings are kind of going to come back down to earth here. You know, the Bears, they look totally lost and dejected against the Patriots and lose 19-3. That's obviously who we're facing this week. So let's go Pack. 49ers beat the Bucks, and the Bucks are kind of in a free fall right now. You know, they've lost a lot of their weaponry, and, hard to say what their season's going to look like from here. But unfortunately, the 49ers are kind of getting hot right as we look to play them after this upcoming Bears game. So Steelers beat the Commanders. Commanders are still a very respectable 7-3. The Saints beat the Falcons. The Falcons are now 6-4. I don't think the Saints are really going to be there at the end, so don't really need to give you their record. The Cardinals looking pretty respectable again. You know, that's starting to look like a better and better win, but they beat up on the Jets today. Outside of that, the Chiefs stay undefeated. And, the Bills look good. It's still a pretty strong NFC. All right, friends. Well, just remember, more great Packers content from Sounds Gouda every Wednesday and Saturday. We thank you again for listening. Thanks for sharing it with your friends, your family, and other Packers fans. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button, comment, like, and let us know what you think. On Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure to follow us as well. You can connect with us on X. Rob is at Robertson, and I'm at Olson Jord. And just again, a big thank you to our show friend, Felipe Reis Aceti. We always enjoy our conversations with him. He's got such great content. Check him out on X and all of the other great work that he's doing. But until next time, Packers Nation, have a good morning a Gouda afternoon and a Gouda night. Go Pack.
Go Pack.
Been wanting this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Okay. Hey.